Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm David Lamb. Here's a preview of some of today's stories. Gas is on almost everyone's mind, and different steps are being taken to help drivers save money. Californians and other states are calling for a suspension of gas taxes, but the governor is looking towards rebates. Despite smash and grab robbery and retail theft persisting in the state, lawmakers once again voted down the controversial Proposition 47. Critics say the law is the cause for increased theft. And a new study ranked all 50 U.S. governors based on the economic policies. We'll show you where Governor Gavin Newsom placed compared to the rest of the country. A board of supervisors in Southern California is asking the governor to suspend gas tax after the record-high gas prices. The request comes after the state has considered a gas rebate in lieu of removing the tax. NTD's Eileen Ng has several updates for us on gas prices and responses.
The Orange County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously on March 22nd to urge Governor Gavin Newsom to suspend the state's gas tax for 6 months. Vice Chairman Don Wagner and Supervisor Katrina Foley brought up the matter in 2 separate resolutions. The supervisors are asking the state to use its estimated $45 to $50 billion surplus to temporarily remove the 51-cent gas tax at a time where gas prices have reached record highs. It has bipartisan support, given high prices that Californians are facing throughout the state.
We are watching folks struggle at all levels of society, but especially when they pull into the gas pump and they're seeing in our state 51 cents additional being paid per gallon at the pump to pay the gas tax at a time when the state is running a surplus that is roughly $45 to $50 billion. There is no reason to continue taxing people when they are so injured.
The supervisors will request an original 6-month tax withdrawal with an option to renew for another 6 months, depending on market conditions.
It not only impacts the gas costs, but it also impacts the costs of goods and services as well. And so we are seeing unprecedented costs increase at a time when we're just getting over the pandemic. People are trying to get back to living their best lives, and really families cannot endure this.
In Foley's resolution, she asked that there be a mechanism attached that would hold oil companies accountable to decrease their prices, which she said is part of their greed. Other supervisors did not believe it was necessary.
There are gas stations that are admitting that they're charging $8 a gallon because they can. And so it's very important that we send a strong message that the price gouging that's going on should stop.
After the motion is approved, Wagner and Foley's offices will draft a letter, which Chairman Doug Chaffee will sign. Then it will be sent to the governor's office urging him to suspend the gas tax. According to AAA, the average price of a gallon of gas in California is $5.87 as of March 23rd for regular grade.
We'll watch if Governor Gavin Newsom responds to Orange County's request, but he may have his own ideas. On Wednesday, he proposed a gas rebate, similar to legislation that Democratic lawmakers introduced last week.
So today we're announcing a $9 billion tax refund to tens of millions of Californians, $400 for each registered vehicle that an individual owns, up to 2 vehicles. That direct relief will address the issue that we all are struggling to address, and that's the issue of gas prices, not only here in our state, but of course all across this country.
The payments will cost the state a total $9 billion. The remaining $2 billion will cover 3 months of free public transportation, a pause on inflation adjustments to gas and diesel excise tax rates, among other transportation projects. In the coming days and weeks, the state legislature will need to review and approve Newsom's idea before any payments are made. Other states are also taking measures against high gas prices. Some have already suspended their gas taxes, others are considering, and some are going the way of California. Here's who is making the changes and who's not.
While some officials are asking for California to pause its gas tax, other states passed temporary gas tax restrictions over the weekend. On Friday, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan signed a bill into law temporarily suspending the state's gas tax. His signature will pause Maryland's roughly 36-cent tax on gasoline and diesel for a month. Georgia also removed its 29 cents per gallon gasoline tax and nearly 33 cents per gallon diesel tax. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp tweeted, "With gas prices up by at least 59% in a year and DC's pandemic policies further driving inflation, Georgia's families need and deserve all the relief we can give them." Georgia's tax is set to resume at the end of May. Additionally, Connecticut is moving towards finalizing gas tax cuts. Nearby in New Jersey, a state senator introduced legislation to roll back the gas tax for 60 days. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis has been pushing for a gas tax suspension since November. Michigan nearly passed a gas tax cut, but Governor Gretchen Whitmer vetoed her state's bill. She cited similar reasons as Governor Gavin Newsom, not wanting to lose a revenue source for road and infrastructure funding. Michigan may take up a model similar to California's proposed gas rebate.
California continues to struggle with smash and grab theft up and down the state. Yet for the second time this month, state lawmakers declined to advance a bill that would address the rising crime. NTD's Cynthia Kai has the story.
A measure that aimed to reform California's Proposition 47 failed to make it out of the Committee on Public Safety on Tuesday. Assembly Bill 1603, introduced by Democratic Assemblyman Rudy Salas, aimed to reform Prop 47 by lowering the threshold for felony theft from $950 to $400.
When I'm talking to law enforcement locally, when I'm talking to the business owners, when I'm talking to customers, they say, look, when the threshold was lower at $400, we didn't see the problems that we see now.
Prop 47 is a 2014 voter-approved measure that reclassified certain low-level drug and property crimes from felonies to misdemeanors. Property theft under $950 is considered a petty theft misdemeanor, punishable up to 6 months in prison and fines. Many critics blame Prop 47 for the state's steady rise in crime. During the committee hearing, one witness testimony said Prop 47 led to a lack of accountability for offenders and reduced punishment for property theft.
Thieves understand that they are not going to be charged with a crime. And so every single day at our stores, we have people who run in, grab items, and leave. And this is just all across the board, up and down the valley.
She said many business owners are struggling economically and psychologically from the rising theft.
Police officers, they're strained. They let us know that there's no point for them to come out. We employ folks as kids that come in 16, 17 years old. It's their first-time jobs, and they're petrified and they're scared, and there's a real big liability to us as business owners. It also affects our vendors.
Salas's bill would have lowered that threshold to $400, the amount it was before voters passed Prop 47.
Now, I know that there's debate on whether this will actually make a difference and whether other states have higher limits. It's fine. But here in California, if you just talk to the locals, if you just talk to our business owners, they will tell you, since this changed, this is what we've seen.
The bill received pushback from several opposition groups who said rolling back the felony threshold could impact rates of recidivism or relapses in criminal behavior.
You really have to be concerned about the number of people that law enforcement will go after to fill the prisons. That is not a solution. That is what lowering the threshold will ultimately do. It's just fill the prisons again.
Salas's proposal came after a series of smash-and-grab robberies were seen throughout the state. Assemblyman Kevin Kiley introduced a similar bill to address the rising crime. Kiley's AB 1599 would have repealed Proposition 47 altogether, but the committee also killed that bill earlier this month. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.
A new report ranked all 50 governors in the United States. The rankings were mostly based around economic freedom. Let's see where California's Gavin Newsom ranked.
A new report ranks all of the United States governors from first to last for 2021. 9 Republican and 1 Democratic governor took the top 10 positions. Democrats held the bottom 10. Coming in at number 1 is South Dakota Republican Governor Kristi Noem. The top Democratic governor was Jared Polis of Colorado, coming in at 4th place overall. Other top rankings included Utah's Spencer Cox and Florida's Ron DeSantis. The rankings were evaluated by economist Arthur Laffer and Associates and the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC. Judgments were based around the economic freedom of each governor's policies, more specifically on executive policies, economic performance, and fiscal policy. On the other end, populous states like New York, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Michigan, and California all received bottom-end rankings. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo ranked 46th, Illinois' J.B. Pritzker 47th, and California's Gavin Newsom 48th. Top-ranked states had similar traits, including low taxes, low unemployment, limited unemployment benefits, and higher domestic energy production. On the other hand, Jonathan Williams, ALEC's chief economist and contributor to the report, told the Center Square that there's a lot of competition for the bottom. He said bottom-ranked governors are looking to empower government to have a more command and control top-down economic system where it empowers politicians and not the markets, not business owners and individuals.
So how do you think Newsom should be ranked? Let us know by leaving a message on our social media or send us an email at california.today@ntd.com. Coming up, a former lawmaker is pushing for permanent daylight savings. He says changing the clocks causes difficulties for everyone. One doctor says permanent standard time would be better. A circuit appeals court upheld Los Angeles County's ban on flavored tobacco products. But the dissenting voice is that the U.S. Supreme Court has overruled similar cases. And a man was rescued from a storm pipe after being trapped for 2 days. The rescue operation called for dozens of responders. That and more for you here on California Today. While the idea of extra daylight during the day appeals to some people, the constant time change has been an issue for others. Some politicians are encouraging Congress to keep it consistent. I spoke to proponents of the change on Wednesday. Nowadays, we get more sunlight during each day due to daylight savings, but the daylight savings period only lasts 9 months out of each year. Now, some politicians and community members are advocating for more daylight savings and to eliminate that biannual time change that we have to deal with. Canton Chu was one of the assembly members that introduced Assembly Bill 7 in December 2018 to make daylight saving time permanent in California. Chu said there's benefits of year-round daylight saving time to public health, safety, and the economy.
And it's really very welcome by those people that enjoy outdoor activity after work.
He hopes the bill can continue to gain momentum after 3 attempts.
That we're here to urge, the Speaker Nancy Pelosi to take on this bill, for a vote in the Congress, and also encourage everybody to contact their representative.
The bill literature states, many studies show the adverse effects of biannual time changes on human health and safety, including increases in heart attacks, strokes, traffic accidents, and workplace injuries.
It's just like flying overseas. When you go overseas, you have to wait like a couple of days before you feel good. So think about fatigue and just tiredness, and what does that bring? It makes you grouchy, lack of sleep.
While there are proponents that want to abolish the biannual time change, the question remains whether to use standard time or daylight saving time. Dr. M. Rishi with the American Academy of Sleep Medicine said, daylight saving time results in more darkness in the morning and more light in the evening, disrupting the body's natural rhythm. Rishi said that permanent year-round standard time is the best choice to most closely match our circadian sleep-wake cycle. There's also the added challenge of sending students to school during the early mornings, especially in states with snow. Currently, Hawaii and most of Arizona do not observe daylight saving time. On March 15th, the U.S. Senate passed the Sunshine Protection Act, which would make daylight saving time permanent starting in 2023 if it's fully signed. David Lamb, NTD News, California. The DEA shut down what it calls a major narcotic trafficking organization in California last week. A months-long investigation netted the seizure of 50,000 fentanyl pills and 45 pounds of methamphetamine in Camarillo. The fentanyl pills were copies of prescription oxycodone tablets, but were laced with potentially fatal doses of the synthetic opioid instead. 7 suspects were taken into custody in connection with the seizure. The arrests come as U.S. overdose deaths reach another record high, largely due to a surge caused by fentanyl. A circuit court of appeals upheld Los Angeles County's ban on flavored tobacco products on Monday, but another judge warned that the U.S. Supreme Court has struck down similar rulings in the past.
Los Angeles County can continue its ban on flavored tobacco products after a court ruling on Monday. The court supported LA County's 2020 ban in a 2-to-1 vote against R.J. Reynolds Tobacco and 2 sister companies. The tobacco company's lawyer argued that only the federal government can regulate tobacco sales. The majority wrote that the companies were misreading the 2009 Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act. The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals judges ruled that the FDA has exclusive authority to regulate production and marketing of tobacco, but not retail sales. However, the dissenting voice wrote that the U.S. Supreme Court has twice struck down sales bans on federally regulated products. The Supreme Court ban coincidentally reversed 9th Circuit Court rulings. About 100 state, local, and Native American governments have restricted or banned flavored tobacco sales in the state. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a similar bill, but a petition for a referendum prevented it from going into effect throughout the state. The issue will be voted on in the coming November election.
Over the weekend, a man was found stuck in a storm drain pipe in Contra Costa County. The rescue took dozens of first responders and lasted several hours. Let's hear more about how it happened and how the man got out.
A man was trapped for 2 days, 15 feet underground in a storm pipe in Antioch. The pipe was 16 inches wide in diameter, about the size of a large pizza. The rescue effort lasted 3.5 hours and involved at least 50 firefighters, police officers, and rescue personnel, officials said on Monday. 4 firefighters with their own air supply entered the underground space from one direction, while other rescuers dug a second access from the opposite side. Contra Costa County Fire Protection District spokesperson Steve Hill said that the mid-30-year-old man entered the stormwater system intentionally. At one point, he reached a narrow area of the pipe and became stuck. The man told officials he had been trapped for about 2 days before passers-by heard his screams and called 911. Hill said the man was not injured, but showed signs of dehydration. He has been taken to a hospital.
If you're planning to visit Yosemite National Park this summer, you're going to have to log onto your computer first. The park's reservation system went live Wednesday for people to make a reservation during the peak season. That's from May 20th through September 30th. And officials say all visitors will have to reserve their spots in order to get into the park. That can be done at recreation.gov. There's a $2 non-refundable reservation fee, and it doesn't cover the $35 per car entrance charge. Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup. New out of Indian Wells, Rafa Nadal has suffered a stress fracture in his rib and will be out for up to 6 weeks, the Spaniard's team said on Tuesday. Nadal, the winner of 21 Grand Slam singles titles, complained of a chest issue during his run to the final of the ATP 1000 event in Indian Wells, California last week. Upon his arrival in Spain on Tuesday, Nadal visited his medical team in Barcelona for tests which revealed a stress fracture of the third left costal arch. Nadal's injury occurred during his 3-set semifinal victory over teenage compatriot Carlos Alcaraz, but he still played in the final, in which he went down to American Taylor Fritz, his first loss in the season after 20 consecutive wins. His doctor said the 35-year-old will be out of action for 4 to 6 weeks, ruling him out of next month's Monte Carlo Masters and putting doubts over his participation in the ATP 1000 events in Madrid and Rome in May. The French Open, the year's second major at Roland Garros, where Nadal has won a record 13 titles, is scheduled to start on May 22nd. Nadal started the 2022 season unprepared and with uncertainty looming over him due to a possible foot problem that forced him to miss a chunk of the 2021 season, including Wimbledon, the Olympics, and the US Open. After suffering a bout of COVID-19 before arriving in Melbourne in January, Nadal said he had even considered retiring when the foot problem that had troubled him so much throughout his career resurfaced last year. But that did not stop the left-hander from winning 3 consecutive titles in 2022, including the Australian Open that helped him to increase his major haul to 21 and take sole ownership of the men's record he had previously shared with Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer. Jordan Spieth said on Tuesday, this year's PGA Championship at Southern Hills Country Club in Tulsa, Oklahoma, could be his best opportunity yet to complete the career Grand Slam of golf's 4 majors. Being born in Texas, the 28-year-old Spieth acknowledged that the May 19th through 22nd PGA Championship's proximity to home could represent one of his better chances until the major is held in Frisco in 2027. This year's PGA Championship will be Spieth's 6th shot at the career Grand Slam after having won the Masters and US Open in 2015 before his British Open victory in 2017. A triumph at Southern Hills would put Spieth alongside Gene Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods as the only players to complete the Grand Slam of winning golf's 4 major championships.
As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
And that's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for our show, or you just want to let us know how we're doing, our email is california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Lamb. Have a wonderful evening.